Doing the course has opened so many doors.
There's a huge shortage of skilled carpenters and all the various trades to do with heritage properties. So yeah, we're in demand. So we're busy. Yeah, we're really busy. It's great.
Really interesting work, and there's lots of it, and it's well paid.
Just a no-brainer, really. You know, with the grant funding help that you get, I think the time that you lose on site compared to the knowledge that you gain is definitely worth going for.
There's a lot of knowledge and experience needed to look after old buildings. You know, I'm working in conservation in general, so we thought by going to the Tywi and actually have a certificate, kind of sets us apart from the crowd.
This course has transformed the rest of my life, because I'll always be in conservation in one form or another now, and it was the Tywi Centre and their NVQ programme that started that journey, and it's been fun. I've really enjoyed it. It's been great.
Well, I mean, just briefly, the sectors we work in, we are contractors. You know, we do quite a bit of contracting. So there's the commercial sector, the residential sector, and the heritage and conservation sector. I'd say at least half of the works we do heritage conservation.
Yeah, I find there's a high demand of heritage plastering, only because people are getting more wise to it. People are doing more research, looking at what's best for their properties, and yeah, I really do think that it's a really big demand for it at the moment.
People are more aware of the historic environment these days. They're beginning to understand and learn more about their buildings. Not necessarily, it's not always the case it's the listed buildings or the scheduled monuments or the historic sort of World Heritage sites. It's the end terrace, it's the semi-detached. These buildings are also part of our historic environment. I mean, a third of our stock in Wales alone is vernacular. So people are a lot more aware of this now, and it's a much bigger and growing industry.
I was working for a general builder, and I had noticed a correlation between damp buildings and sand and cement.
I'm a set builder by trade, so we kind of make things for theatre and film and TV. This is kind of like a finer traditional skill set, so I wanted to kind of fine tune things that were more meaningful for me. So that's why I'm doing this course.
And I do some work for the National Trust and work with a lot of houses which are of heritage in nature, so I want to hone my skills. To have Tom, the trainer, who knows his stuff inside out, hands-on, showing us and guiding us through it is invaluable, I think.
Definitely.
I think a lot of what the guys are doing day to day is covered by the training, but there are things that they very rarely get the chance to do, which the training helps with as well.
None of them have come back and said, "Oh, that was easy." They've all come back and said, you know, that tested us, but they haven't come back and said, "Don't put us through that again." You know, you can see you've got the right level there. It's tough enough to keep them interested and keep them on their toes, but you know, it's by no means a walkover. It's been really good.
Yeah, it was all relevant, and it's always good to learn new skills or see other ways of doing it. So yeah, it's definitely at the right sort of level.
When you are busy at work, it can be a little bit of a nightmare, but you just have to cope with it. If you want the qualifications, that's just what you've got to do. So, you know, it's fine.
Because I'm so passionate about this course, as you probably are too, it's just been something that I've had to make sure is my priority.
And once we know the dates, we can work around that and make sure that you know, we can time the job so that we don't need their particular skills for that job at that time. It works out pretty well.
You lay out at the start when they're going to be away and for how long. So with a good schedule, it's always, you know, fairly straightforward to work around.
We think that this investment is just going to pay us back on site in the years to come, and already you can see they're passing off information to the lads that couldn't quite make it onto this course, because we couldn't give you everybody at once, but you can see, you know, they're already passing information down. It really is. You can see the younger lads in the plastering team joining in with them on site, so it's it's a no-brainer for us, really. It has to be done if you're working in and around the conservation area.
That's enabled us to do our fibrous work with our cornice repairs and making ceiling roses, and that was really good for us, actually. Really good, really beneficial.
But since completing the course, it's opened up my eyes to the range of different materials and methods that are used on traditional buildings and how they interact together.
The modern tradespeople have a very good sort of foundation of their training, and to top that off with a specialty, it's a great combination.
Having the NVQ level 3 is very important. I've got it in modern plastering. I've also got it in the lime plastering. And I think, obviously, if you're going to go for a job and somebody else has got NVQ level 3 in just modern plastering, more than likely you're going to get the job over them. And I think it kind of opens a few more doors.
It encourages them to learn and to look beyond their everyday tasks.
I think from having worked in lime for the last, 8 years back in Ireland and then 2 years here with the company, you do get a bit sort of, stagnant. But whereas working with Tom and Joe and Ned and the guys up in TG Williams, sort of, reinvigorates your excitement.
I think just, having a sort of quantified as a qualification that, what you're doing is the right thing, and having it on paper, I guess.
It was just actually great talking to somebody else who knows what they're talking about, to be honest with you. It was just, I found it really, really enlightening for me.
Very helpful. Tom's been great, and very forthcoming with his knowledge. He's very tolerant to questions that I'd ask him outside of, the course weeks.
I've been on courses myself with you guys, and I'd quite happily go on more.
So I think Tom was always on the phone if we needed to check through anything. It was very helpful.
Definitely recommend putting anybody on the NVQ level 3. Only reason being is that you gain experience plus networking. You gain a lot of contacts through the scheme.
If you're working in and around the heritage and conservation sector, then nobody knows everything.
Definitely, if you've got the right person who's able to engage with it and commit to it. Obviously, there's quite a lot of work, so you need to make sure that that person who you're putting forward is committed and interested. Basically, for that, so it's up to the individual. But definitely, if you've got the right person, there's lots to be gained from it, I think.
Go for it.
Yeah.
You've got nothing to lose, and the benefits are really, really good. Yeah. The support's there.
It was good for me anyway. I liked it. It's great.
Come into it with an open mind, because if, like me, you came through the traditional apprenticeship route and did an NVQ level 2, then the chances are a lot of what you're going to learn on the course is sort of the flip side of what you're taught in the level 2.
Highly recommend to go for it.
To do it,
Don't
yes.
think twice about it. Go for it if you're passionate about something that's historic and architectural.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'd say that try and gain as much knowledge as possible, because everybody does things differently and different methods for different finishes. And I think to try and get it all as much information as you can really is extremely important in the course,
To do it, because it is there's a lot of knowledge. Even though it's only 4 weeks training, it does cover an awful lot of ground.
I would be to do it without a question of a doubt.
Just to go for it, really. I can remember years ago, before I took the lead role here, that I was worried about losing men on site, losing time, and how much it was going to cost me. But since we've got on board with the training, it's only helped with our site works, with our the knowledge is power, and the lads that come through great from the trade. It gives them confidence, and you can see it in them, whether it's health and safety or whether it's conservation training like this. The pluses far outweigh the negatives, so just to get on and do it.
Yeah, get in touch with the Tywi Centre, talk it through, see how it's going to work with your business. If you've got particular concerns, I'm sure they'll be able to deal with them. So it's definitely a worthwhile thing to do and to offer your employees.